This is an interview with Mrs. John Teer. She was born in Fayette County, Texas in 1870. She now lives at 716A Northwest. The date is May 9th, 1956. Mrs. Teer, would you tell me why you first came to Ardmore?
Well, I was teaching in Texas, and my parents moved up here in 1900.
1900?
And then I was teaching down there, and I married and lived in Granger, Texas, while I was teaching. And I moved up here in 1906. That was the year that big thing happened in San Francisco. Earthquake. And my sister was living there in San Francisco.
How did you come to Ardmore?
Well, I came on train.
Did you continue teaching here in Ardmore?
No, I just substituted once in a while.
When you first came, what was your first impression? How were the buildings and streets of Ardmore?
Well, it was terrible land. I can remember when they were so boggy, the wagons would get stuck down there in Main Street. It was a long time before they paved those streets. I remember that distinctly.
Were you ever in a wagon that got stuck? Did you have any?
No, I didn't.
About how many stores were there?
Well, wasn't so very many, because Darby had a store, but it was a small one. They had a store here a long time, but it was a small store, not like it is now. And Mr. Spaggins had a store. He was a hardware man, but he's gone now. And then, another store, a little old store. Yeah, gone.
Where was this hardware store?
Huh?
What block was this hardware store in?
Well, it was a block west of the Santa Fe track.
Oh.
You see this place that George Ashton is in, it's around this, you might say it's east of the Main Street, East Main Street, that's where it is, East Main.
Do you remember the railroad that you came in on? Well, the train you came in on? How was it?
No, I didn't come in a Pullman. My husband, I told you about him having a horse, and he...
Go ahead and tell.
But he had a horse down there, and it was a beautiful thing, and he hated to give him up. So he got a whole car, you know.
A railroad car?
Yeah, and brought him up here and bought our household thing, and brought that horse up here.
Was this a riding horse?
Yeah, on the prettiest thing you ever saw. And then after we were here, 3 or 4, we bought a car and sold this horse. Dan Patch was his name, named after that noted horse, you know, Dan Patch. You don't remember that?
I don't remember.
Well, I do. Dan Patch, that's where they named him from.
Do you remember the first car you saw?
Yeah, one that took my mother.
Would you tell the folks about that?
It's a funny looking old thing. I don't know how to explain
Yeah. Back around statehood, how did you cope with the illness and the sickness? Were there many doctors?
Yeah, there are plenty of doctors here. Dr. Bogey and Dr. G.W. Smith. And, I don't know who are. I never was sick much.
Oh. Well, you know, they didn't have any miracle drugs or anything. I wonder how well the patients got along with them.
Well, I guess they got along about as well as they do now.
Did they have any hospitals then?
No. It was harder to built, but then a long time after that.
Were there many churches here in Ardmore?
No. The Episcopal Church had services down there off of the street, way down there, some kind of a place, wasn't any church. Had services down there.
Was that the only church here?
No, they had a Presbyterian, and that was the old church, you know. But they, of course, had built a new one. And the Baptists had a old church, but they have a new one.
Oh, I'm a Baptist myself. And our records said that the Baptist church used to be where the 7-Up bottling company is now.
Well, it might have been. Yeah. You mean Sam McDaniel?
Mm-hmm.
Owned it.
What did you all do for entertainment back in?
We just got together and played out here in the yard and did everything.
Well, they didn't have moving pictures then, did they?
No.
What about courtship?
Oh, and that. Yeah, I was married and I came here.
Did the kids go out on dates then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, they didn't have cars, though.
No, I know it.
Miss Teer, would you tell me about the Santa Fe Railroad?
I came through Ardmore in 1887, and there was the biggest crowd down there that you ever heard of. So I've heard. I wasn't there. Of course, I wasn't.
Well, that was when it first came into Ardmore.
Yeah, it came into Ardmore. Well, up to Oklahoma City. I think it started from Fort Worth.
Miss Barger told me that there was a trolley car to Ardmore.
Uh-huh.
A trolley car. Do you remember anything about?
No, I don't. Somebody could something about that, but I don't know anything about it.
She said it ran down Main Street.
Trolley?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe it was, but I don't know anything about it.
You don't remember where it went or
Mm-mm.
anything?
No, I wouldn't know anything about it.
Well, how did Oklahoma? Do you remember any big parties or any big incidents when Oklahoma became a state?
1907?
Was it a big thing to look forward to? I mean,
Oh, yes. My brother helped write the Constitution of Oklahoma.
Who was your brother?
W.A. Ledbetter. He helped write the Constitution of Oklahoma.
Was there a big change after Oklahoma became a state?
Oh, I should say. Yeah. I'll tell you, Oklahoma has grown wonderfully.
Well, would you tell?
You see, it's a young state, Oklahoma is.
Well, tell some of the advantages of it being a state. Some of the
Well, the universities, they have wonderful universities at Norman and at Tulsa, and then the high schools are fine here in Ardmore and all other places.
What about elections back in 1907?
Elections? Well, what's called Murray was the first governor, wasn't he? What's his name?
Bill? Alfalfa Bill?
Alfalfa Bill.
He wasn't our first governor.
Yeah. No.
I don't know. Was
No.
Lee Cruz was down there before then. Lee Cruz was
Lee Cruz.
We came up here in 1908, and he was governor right after that, or just before.
And Lee Cruz was governor before Murray, and Walter was his attorney. Our brother was attorney from Murray.
Would you tell so that the people listening to this could understand? I mean, I don't know who Lee Cruz is. Was he the first governor?
Well,
No. What's his name?
Haskell was the first.
Haskell. Haskell was the first governor.
And then Lee Cruz followed him.
Yeah, that's right. Then I think Murray was next.
Well, no, I didn't know about governor.
The third governor? Haskell was the first.
Do you remember how statehood helped the schools? I mean, here you said you were a substitute teacher for a while.
Yeah. Yes, I substituted here in a public school.
And really, you taught somewhere around about 1910, right in there.
Yeah.
Would you tell something about the schools then? How did they compare?
Well, the buildings are so superior to what they were then. Yeah, awful buildings here. High schools and the ward schools and all were very interior.
What subjects were taught?
I couldn't tell you that. But they're changing a lot, you know.
Do you remember any funny incidents that might have happened between you and the kids then?
No, I could tell you something, but I'm going to.
You had two women.
No.
You had two women. You had two women living here who were in high school. And I was in school in 1980.
Rooming here, high school?
Yeah. Miss A.G. and Miss Fraser.
Why, sure, they were teachers.
Well, I said they were
I thought you
teachers in
said,
high school.
yeah.
They were here when you-
Yes, I had two teachers here, one from California, one she's from Denver, Colorado, and the other one was from up north at, what school was that?
Their names were Miss
A.G. and
Miss
Fraser.
A.G. and Miss Fraser.
And it's been how many years
Well, that
ago?
was in 1908, but I went to school with
Well,
them.
You know, I've been over, how many years, Laura? Well, anyway, she roomed here at my home, and I've heard she married a man here in Ardmore. She moved to California, and I've heard from her every year since she left here. Over 40 years.
48 years.
48 years. She thought a lot of me, and I thought a lot of her. But that Miss Fraser was a different kind of somebody.
She was nice, too. She was one
Yeah, she was nice, smart, too.
How was the mail delivery in the early days?
Well, didn't they have my horses or something? How was that? Well, I guess they just bought like they do now.
Well, I mean, what was it good delivery? Did you get 1 2-day service?
Well,
We hadn't been there.
Well,
yeah.
I mean before statehood, before home became a state.
Well, we didn't have any mailboxes, I know that.
What about the post office?
Oh, we had a poor post office, but it got a nice one now.
Where was this old post office?
Right where it is now, isn't it, Laura? Yes, it was. Right where it is now.
Oh.
Belonged to the government.
What about would you tell me about the telephones when they first came into use?
I know the first telephone I ever had. Got one of the first ones.
Oh.
And I've had that same phone number ever since.
Oh, was the service just as good then as it is now?
No, it wasn't. Couldn't have been, because they were not trained, you know, and experienced. So, everything is different then, now. Entirely different.
You wanted to tell me about the land rush.
Well, the 89ers?
Yes.
Well, this girl's aunt, Miss Mason, her husband, before he was married, he lived in Arkansas, and he made the run, and he got some land. I talked to Miss Mason the other day. He's dead, and I talked to her, and she said he got some land. I don't know how they do it, you know. They get in there and claim it.
Well, I've heard about the run. The
89ers. Then the Sooners, you know about that.
Well, tell about that.
Well, I remember it, understand it. Some of them got in too soon. You know, they had a certain time from all to make this run. And they got in too soon. They called them the Sooners. Sooner State. That's the reason why they call it that.
You said that some of your relative had captured Santa Ana.
Oh yes, I sure his picture right here.
Well, that's okay. Let her show me this picture.
Right here. I'm proud of that.
She's bringing the picture.
Yeah. This is my
I'll try to
mother's
describe
father.
this.
He captured old Santa Anna and brought him into Sam Houston's camp.
Your mother's father.
Yeah, George W. Robinson.
This is an old newspaper clipping dated
Yeah.
June 8, 1936.
Well, I'll tell you, they celebrated the 100th anniversary. You see, the Battle of San Jacinto was fought in 1836. And in 1936, that was the 100th century, you know. And they celebrated it in Dallas, Texas. And I'm all written up there, but I don't care about that. And I went down there to it, and they took his picture.
This is a picture of Joel W. Robinson.
Yeah.
Was he living at that time?
No.
His name is inscribed. Tell him what
Yeah.
his name is. His name His name is inscribed on the monument.
Yeah.
Oh. This Robertson man.
You know, listen, Roger. Long time ago, in 1933, when Texas claimed my grandfather's body and his wife, they were buried out in a little country graveyard. That's where they were buried. And they wanted to move it to the Arlington of Texas at Austin. So we all had to sign up for it, that we were willing to let them do that. Well, they got it through.
Houston.
Huh?
Houston instead of Austin.
Austin is the capital.
But the San Jacinto Monument is at Houston.
Well, I know it, but I'm talking about where they moved this body. Moved his body to Austin.
His name is inscribed on that, on this monument. And he really did help capture
Yeah,
Santa
he didn't capture him the first day. But I want to tell you about this other thing. We all went down there, and we stood over down here at the old grave where he was buried, and we stood over there, and they watched everything taken. There wasn't a thing left in there but the bones. Wasn't a thing left in the grave. And then they moved it to Austin, Texas, the bodies. And they had a big funeral, and the biggest crowd you ever heard of there in Austin, Texas. And it has a big monument there. They have what they call the Arlington of Texas. You don't have Arlington, Washington. And they put his body there, and they call it the Arlington of Texas. And I went down there to that. And they moved his body.
That tells the story of the capture Santa Anna right there.
Yeah.
I'll read this clipping. It's very short. Brought to Dallas by Mrs. John W. Teer of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Here for the centennial, this picture of Joel W. Robinson, who helped take Santa Anna to the Texas camp, followed his capture on April 22nd, 1836, is said to be the only likeness of Mr. Robinson in existence. Mrs. Teer, a granddaughter of Mr. Robinson, is visiting her sister, Mrs. Clay L. Cox, 1010 Cordova. While he was trying to conceal himself in high grass, Santa Anna was found by Sergeant Jones A. Sylvester, member of a cavalry squad that included Mr. Robinson, on the day after the Battle of San Jacinto. Sylvester soon was joined by the other members of the squad, who did not dream that they had the Mexican leader as a prisoner. Mr. Robinson, who had a slight knowledge of Spanish, was told by Santa Anna that he belonged to the Mexican cavalry and that he had abandoned his horse. The Mexican leader rode part of the way to camp behind Mr. Robinson on a horse. When they reached the camp, he was riding behind Sylvester and was recognized by the Mexican prisoners, who gave his identity away by exclaiming, "El Presidente."
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson was given a velvet vest with gold buttons by Santa Anna. A commission as a lieutenant in the Texas Army, given by Mr. Robinson and signed by General Sam Houston, is at Ardmore. That's interesting.
Yes, it is. You see, at Largo, But don't go yet. You sit down. You don't have nothing to do when you get home.
Could you tell me anything that he told you when you were a girl, maybe about his
George
battle?
Robinson?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, land, I used to. Yes, I can. My grandfather, they lived out in the country. And he was born, and they had a small town, Warrenton. And I wanted some shoes, and he had a store of everything. And I wanted some new shoes. So I asked Grandpa if I couldn't go up to his store and get me some shoes. And I did. I went up there and got my shoes. I don't think that, your father lived in that house.
Where is this store?
Warrenton. W-R-R-E-N, Warrenton, Texas.
Oh, the town.
Yes, a small town, off the railroad. Never was on the railroad.
So you got your shoes?
I got me up there and got my shoes. Yeah, that's a funny thing. I know Grandpa said, well, go get them. So I went up there and got my shoes. We need to put that in that.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
There were 10 children of us. And my mother and father lived to have never lost a child. When they passed away, there were 10 children still living. 5 boys and 5 girls. Now, there are just 2 of us left. I lost my brother about a month ago. 5 brothers. I had 5 brothers, and there were 5 girls. Of course, all Ledbetters, yeah. Yes, sir.
What kin are you to the Ledbetters here in town?
Well, Ellis Ledbetter, oil man, is my nephew, and Hugh Ledbetter, that passed away, was a lawyer and rated as the best title lawyer in Oklahoma. That's written up in the paper there. I got that written up. I didn't do it, but the Bar Association did.
I was a Ledbetter. My father was H.C. Ledbetter.
H.C. She was a Ledbetter. Her father was a Ledbetter.
H.C.
Horace C. Ledbetter.
Do you remember when oil first came into Ardmore?
Yes, I do. Who was that? Kitzler, what's his name? Was the man that drilled the first well out there. What's his name? He lives up there in Washington on that big 2-story house.
Well,
Kitzler or something like that. I remember, but he came from the north of Pennsylvania and come down here and they drilled the first well.
Was there a big change after the industry came?
Oh, yeah. Ardmore just popped up. Yeah, that's what, of course the air bases helped Ardmore, but it's the oil. There's more millionaires. There are more millionaires in Ardmore than any other town in the United States, in proportion to the size of the town. See, there are 33 millionaires in Ardmore. And I have one nephew that's among them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is. You don't think about that as a lot.
What's his name?
Ellis Ledbetter.
H.E.
H.E. Ledbetter.
Do you... Go ahead. Did you start to say something?
No,
Do you remember any other incidents that might help or that happened in early Oklahoma days?
No, Laurie, can you think of something?
You mean before statehood?
Yes, or just around the statehood.
Well, she wasn't up here then, were you? Before statehood. 1907 was when they had statehood, and I came up here before statehood.
Well, I believe that if you don't have anything else, that'll close the interview.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't do any more for you.
This has been an interview with Mrs. John Teer by Roger Blount, a senior in Ardmore High School. After the interview, Mrs. Teer told me the newspaper clipping was incorrect. You remember it said that Santa Anna rode into camp behind Sylvester on Sylvester's horse. She says that actually Santa Anna rode into camp behind her grandfather, Mr. Robertson. It seems that Sylvester was cruel to Santa Anna and kept prodding him with a spear and making him walk on, and Santa Anna said, "You can kill me if you like, but I can't walk any further." Then Mr. Robinson let Santa Anna climb up on the horse behind him, and they rode the rest of the way into camp. From this kindness, Santa Anna gave Robinson the vest that was mentioned in the newspaper clipping.